Good morning, everyone. Welcome to EAPC's first roundtable discussion. I'm Susan Wan, the Vice Chair of EAPC from the Adam Smith School. I hope all of you are well and good during these unprecedented times. Well, today is a rather unprecedented day, isn't it? It has been raining since yesterday, so it's a cold, cozy, comfy Tuesday morning to start a great discussion, and I hope all of you will enjoy and benefit from this section. Before we start out, I just like to give an overview of the number of participants that we have. In audience today, we have colleagues from various universities and international schools in Malaysia who manage alumni relations, marketing, admissions, development, student services, and we even have some directors in this group itself. There are 11 private universities and 4 international schools in Malaysia with 27 registered participants. Before we start, I would actually like to do introductions of what EAPC is all about, which is the reason why you are here for this roundtable discussion. EAPC stands for Education Advancement Professionals Committee of Malaysia. It was established on 8 January last year by a group of volunteers. The objective of the group is to act as an advocate to the development of the advancement professionals in Malaysia through sharing of knowledge and best practices in alumni relations, fundraising, marketing, communications, admissions by working closely with various stakeholders. Our purpose is to seek industry best practices in advancement from established institutions and to adopt it into work in line with the requirements of the working institutions of the members. That's why we are having this very first roundtable discussion. We hope to seek the support and have collaborations with suitable stakeholders with the aim of maintaining the relevancy of this committee. Since being established about a year, we already have 2 past events jointly organized together with CASE, that stands for Council for Advancement and Support for Education. Hence, seizing this opportunity, we hope the participants will register and become a member of EAPC. Now, the running order of today's event is that after this, you will be break into 3 respective groups. 2 of it is actually going to be the universities that will be moderated by Sue Ann, our colleague from Sunway University, Rizwan from Monash University, and Indu from International Medical University. So participants who are in the universities category, you will be automatically break up to 2 different sections. As for the international school, you will go into 1 breakup sections moderated by Lynette from ISKL and myself. It will happen for about 45 minutes. And during the breakout sessions, we highly recommend everyone to share your experiences of what you are doing in managing your alumni relations during these unprecedented times. It could be something that you're doing currently with your alumni, or it could be something that you learned from your webinars or heard from your other colleagues from the industry. It's going to be an informal, free flow sections that enables everyone, to do it at the same time. Lastly, we will then converge 5 minutes before 11. We will then converge back into the main room where Jennifer, the chair of EAPC, will start to do the closing remarks. Having said that, I hope all of you will enjoy the sections. Make the best use of the next 45 minutes in order to share, which is the main purpose of EAPC. All right. Our colleague Iman will actually now break us back into the respective rooms. So there will be 3 rooms altogether, moderated by the respective colleague, and we will be coming back again to the main room. Off to you, Iman.
Hello.
Good morning, everyone. Again, there are 6 of us in this room. Yeah. I guess since there's only 6 of us in this room, by right there are 7. I guess we have 1 missing colleague from Imperial International School. I guess I would like to, Okay, we have email. Yep. So since there's 6 of us, may I suggest that if it's workable, we can actually all unmute ourselves because we don't have a big group. What do you think, Lynette? Yeah, because initially we actually encourage everyone to unmute yourself and to mute yourself again when you would like to speak. Since there's only 6 of us in this group, I would like to suggest for us to unmute ourselves so that we can have a very free flow discussion to ask, and to share as and when any one of us speaking. What do you think? So that it's very interactive, rather than being very formal, because you have to unmute, and at times like me, I might tend to forget to mute myself when I want to speak. What do you think?
Yeah, that's
okay.
terrific.
That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, that's
Great. Yeah. Before I pass the mic over to Lynette, in order for her to moderate, perhaps it would be good for us to do a ice-breaking sections among ourselves so that we will know who are in this group of the international school. All right. Maybe I'll start off with myself. I think I do not need to introduce myself. I have just mentioned I am the Director of Development from the Alice Smith School, who manages alumni relations, external relations, and also doing fundraising for Alice Smith, being the oldest British international school in Malaysia. And of course, in audience, I have some of my colleagues who are also joining in. And I'll pass it to you, Lynette, to also introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Lynette MacDonald. I'm the Director of Development and Alumni Engagement at ISKL. I've been with ISKL in this role since July last year, so I'm sort of heading towards 1 year. But I've been in Malaysia for 4 years now. We're coming up to our 4-year anniversary here in Malaysia. And prior to that, I was in Shanghai, in China, for 6 years. So it's really nice to see everybody here. Thanks for coming along.
Yeah.
Who shall we pass on to? Kamenis?
Yes. I'm coming in from the Alice Smith School, and my role is the Advancement Executive, where together with Susan and Min, we do the alumni engagement and also the foundation, Alice Smith Foundation.
Great.
I think I'm next. Hi, I'm Min. So I'm from the Alice Smith School as well. I'm the advancement manager, and I work with Kamini and Susan. Like Kamini said, we do alumni relations and also the fundraising projects for the foundation.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
The reason, because I've been joining many Zoom meetings, but this is the only one I can't. I mean, the video is not working. The settings. Yeah, I'm trying to click so many buttons here. It says some privacy settings, doesn't matter. But you have met me, right? We have met in a few meetings. Here, my name is Nirmala. I'm the Alumni Relations Manager at Garden International School. Been with the school for 3 years for this position, and during this difficult time, we have been doing quite a number of work and all that for alumni. I'll be sharing with you in a while. So yeah, that's about me.
Great, thank you. And then Siobhan, would you like to introduce?
Hello. Okay, I don't know if my camera works.
Siobhan, it's not on.
It's not on, but
Yeah,
I did switch it on. Should I?
Should I?
Know.
Yeah. Should I leave and come back again?
I'm not sure what will happen if you leave and come back. That's the only thing. So it might be better. We might just have to persevere and unfortunately not see your faces.
Because I switched it on, but it's not. It's
yeah, me too.
Right? Yeah.
Having the same difficulty with that. You could try turning it off and turning it on again. I'm not sure I would leave the meeting.
Okay, I'll try that. Okay, never mind. Just go ahead.
Okay, so let me just introduce myself. I'm Siobhan. I'm from ISKL. I work with Lynette. Yes. I'm the alumni relations executive. I work in the alumni development and the operations department. And yeah, it's been about 7 years working at ISKL. Yes.
So that's actually great. We have ISKL, Alice Smith School, and Garden, the 3 oldest international schools in Malaysia. So I reckon there's a lot of sharing that we could work on.
Great, and shall I get started then? Because what would be really great is if everybody, or if those who'd like to contribute, just jump in at any stage. This is a really just a very informal chat, but so good to get more of an understanding of what everybody's dealing with at the moment. So perhaps we can start talking about what the landscape, or how the landscape's changed for you in your particular schools. Namala, would you like to start for us?
Landscape as in like
for your alumni relations, like how have things changed? I know we've all had a lot of cancellations, but more than that. Is your
Mute
you're
yourself.
would you like to unmute?
Yeah.
You're still on mute. Namala, can you hear me? Oops.
Just
And
went
she's
offline.
gone. And she's gone. Okay. Susan, would you like to start for us then? And we'll hopefully
Yeah.
will get
I guess that we actually planned to have 3 reunions this year in London, Singapore, and Melbourne. In fact, as I'm speaking now, we are supposed to have returned back from Singapore just about 2 weeks ago, Kamini, correct? And together, and London, we're supposed to be heading off there in early June. But of course, due to this COVID-19, back in March, we've been monitoring the situation very, very closely. So we thought that it's actually best in the interest of everyone before we even have the NCO. We decided to actually postpone everything to next year, because next year is actually our 75th anniversary. In fact, during this, since MCO started back on 18 March, there is some very unique situations that we have encountered with the alumni. And of course, Kamini, who is the closest to the alumni when they are working very, because she's in constant contact with the alumni. So Kamini will actually be able to share later on what are they are positive signs that we have actually identified due to the COVID-19. In fact, currently what's happening now that, because our alumni are being spread all over the world, particularly from the total alumni that we have, there's only about 30% of them are based in Asia. Even in Asia, it's actually quite well spread. Of course, majority are in Malaysia. We have some in Singapore, we have some in Hong Kong, and close to about 40% is actually based in Europe itself. So whether COVID-19 happens or not, we do not physically go to every single part of the world, because we do have some over in the Australia, New Zealand, and United States, and things like that. So I would say is that one thing that we have learned is actually how to continue keeping abreast with the alumni. And of course, we have actually discover some new things, and perhaps I would like to pass this on now to Kamini to share with us the kind of unique landscape that we have discovered since COVID-19 started.
Hi. Yeah, so what I've been trying to do mainly is recruit more alumni. And I find that their response rate during this time is definitely way faster. So there's an example of how I used to, because we usually engage our alumni through our Facebook. So I friend request them long time ago, of course, they didn't approve it. And then now I unfriend them and friend them back again, and immediate responses. So they are more engaged and they're more connected on their social medias these days. So the response rate to join our forums are way faster. And I'm engaging with them through messaging, and the response is also always faster than what it was before. So I'm actually recruiting more and more alumni each day. And because since I'm working at home and I do a lot of work late at night because I have an infant, I speak to a lot of alumni who are in the UK, in different parts of the country. So working at home has its advantages during this time. So I speak with a lot more alumni around the world this time around. So this is one of the things that I've noticed while working under the MCO.
It's really interesting, isn't it? And we have an intern who's one of our alumni who's working with us at the moment to help us with cleaning our alumni data, because we're looking at we're moving to a new alumni portal, and so we want to obviously migrate across as clean a data as we possibly can. And he's been saying that people are really responsive. So those who you might not necessarily think are going to be, you know, checking their Facebook Messenger or checking their emails are actually doing it quite well. And I think your experience is probably similar to ours. We're getting some quite good responses to the Facebook and social media that we're putting out. So that's a positive, isn't it? That people are more responsive to those things. They have more time, and they're spending a lot of time on their devices getting health updates and, you know, updates about travel and all of those sorts of things. So we're getting that is one of the positives.
It's really good that you're also experiencing the same thing. How many, if I may ask, how many % of increase in membership that you see since ILSKL and LSM School also experience the same trends where our alumni are much more responsive in terms of recruitment? I guess one of our KPIs when it handles alumni duration is actually to meet the X numbers of members, you know, by the targeted date and stuff like that.
We don't. I don't have a figure for you for that. I know that since you know, since I started, we've had quite a big increase. Siobhan and I've been doing much more work on our social media, so we have a lot more. And in fact, it was quite dormant up until last July for some time. So we've just found a very steady. Sometimes spike increases when people really, really like the things that we're putting up. So this year has very definitely been an opportunity for us to see what resonates with our alumni, you know. And I feel like we're while I don't have formal guidelines for that, I haven't put that down formally, but I certainly have. I think we have a good sense of the kinds of things that resonate, the sorts of activities that they're interested in seeing, the sorts of, you know, the sorts of nostalgia that prompt a lot of engagement, that prompt people's memories and get them starting to talk amongst themselves and to contribute. So that's really positive. I would say that over the year it's been very steady, and I don't see that rising particularly more now, but because it's that cumulative thing, isn't it? The more you have, the more you have. the greater reach you have, the more reach you have. So that's sort of what we've discovered is that because we've grown all organically. We've not done apart from one. Our marketing department decided to boost one of our posts, and so we just got ridiculous numbers of people. We reached ridiculous numbers of people with that, but which is great. But my preference is for organic reach, so that we really know that we're getting in touch with those people. Because, and I think I'd be interested to know what you think, but for me, alumni relations is a really genuine personal experience. I'm not trying to sell them anything. I want them to be part of our community long term and feel that value. So it's not about just randomly reaching and having target figures. I think it's great to have a target figure. Don't get me wrong, but I want us to get to where we need to be fairly organically there. And of course, for us as well, because we're developing the new alumni portal, that's when we move into that's when we'll be really starting to work on those figures as well, because we'll have the platform that gives us that functionality. At the moment, we don't. At the moment, we essentially have not much more than a spreadsheet. so we're working.
So Lynette, talking about that, I know that your website is being developed by Finalsite, because Finalsite was one of those US company that we were considering on the new website. So I reckon that when you are developing your alumni portals, you're also using Finalsite as the website provider?
No. So we have, and it's a really interesting discussion actually having this. I hope it isn't boring anybody, but the alumni portal issue, when I had a meeting with all of the IASIS alumni heads a week and a half ago, and plus a few others from around Southeast Asia, it's one of the things that almost all of us are developing at the moment. I think we've all come from a low base, and now everybody's like taking that step up. And then for some, in fact, this was already part of our plan. So the MCO COVID-19 has slowed things down a little bit for us, but it really hasn't changed our plans. But for many, they're taking the opportunity now while things are a little slow, while they're looking at how they're doing things, starting to make an assessment. They're starting to develop. So we had a similar conversation, and everybody, and I think we'll all recall from our the co-hosted case conference that we had, everybody is trying different things. So we looked at Final Sight, at HiveBright, at Salesforce, Graduate, and Toucan Tech. And we are at the moment making our final decision, but it seems like we will go with Toucan Tech. We had demos of 2 others as well as Toucan Tech demo sites, and we've done a pretty solid investigation. The thing with Final Sight is that they offer you these portals. They offer you the portals, but they're not much more than a page in front of your existing pages.
Yeah.
Functionality is poor. Siobhan will attest to this. Siobhan was asking, and what about the CRM? And there's no CRM. And you have these meetings. We had quite a lengthy meeting where we just heard no. So, they were suggesting that we take baby steps. But I suppose for us right now, taking baby steps is not. There's no positive in it for us. They're not offering enough more that it's worth our while to develop those pages, So it's that toss up. We're at a point where we're keen to do something more substantial. So yeah. So what's your thinking? What's your planning be?
It's interesting to know that you did, because Kamini started off by mentioning that we do a lot of online recruitment, because especially when it comes to those alumni who are in their 20 odds and above, we have been actively engaging them, recruiting them on Facebook, and on Instagram messaging, and things like that. And of course, I can't agree more that all this are being done organically. All right. We are actually at this point of time, me and Kamini are thinking and considering whether should we do a paid post in order to reach out to the alumni as per se. So, you have something to add on to that?
Yeah, so we have been contemplating, I would say, because we've always done this organically, all our contents, all our communication. And like you said, we're a community and we like to go one-to-one with everyone if we can. So paid posts to us would be more to reaching out the masses, like you said. So we've been contemplating on it, but we would like to try because we've never done it before. And, MCO is a really great time to test everything, I suppose, just because I think it's easier to monitor. And like Kamini said, response rate is better. So I think if we wanted to do a paid post or try to boost our posts, this would be the time to do it, because it will be a good time for us to monitor the response. So it's good to hear that you've done one before, and it's also good to hear that you've said that growing organically is also important as well. And I think the worry is that when we reach out to the masses, the reach is there, but whether the connectivity will be as effective, will we be able to reach the people we actually want to engage with? So I think that has always been the balance we need to find out.
Yeah. And you don't know until you've done it either. So you can get a sense of it. I mean, when you start seeing those thousands and thousands of people, it's just like, whoo, that's nifty. But for example, the post that was boosted was one that performed super well in any case. Super well. So it was, and the better it performs, the more reaching. so it was already on its little trajectory. And I said, but and then potentially there will be more people coming in. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. Siobhan might know better. Oh, hang on, is she there still? Yes, she is. Siobhan might know better what the or you might know better then how to assess that. Like, would you assess it then in terms of the number of people who came in and liked your site, or how would you assess the success of a boosted post?
I usually, Diana, we have another colleague who would boost the post for us. So based on, just say recently we had an ISKL's 55th birthday. So we posted something on Facebook, and then my colleague Diana boosted the post, and it reached about 5.6K people with an engagement of about 1.2K.
So that's
I
the
guess
boost. That's actually the boost. It actually reached an additional 3,500. They were the organic ones and the ones who commented. Okay, so we had lots of comments for the 3,500, and then the extra 5.5 was the boost.
Yeah, we had we had a lot of comments, a lot of shares.
Which you're going to get with a post like that in any case.
The birthday,
because it was the birthday, and so it was a beautiful, joyous thing to happen in the middle of the MCO. To have that little milestone. I don't know what happened to
when you
Nirmala.
mentioned that you have that few thousand people that you boosted and you managed to reach out, what do you do from there? Because we are trying to learn. I mean, because by default, in a way, if I may say it, your marketing helped to boost that what do you call that 55th anniversary, and because of that, you are on that paid social media campaign as part of your membership recruitment. Because like Min has clearly said, we're actually still contemplating, we actually discuss with our marketing department of how should we embark on it, because we do have allocated budget and recruitment season, and we thought that we can grow organically, but there's only that much that you can grow, and we would like to step it up, but being also very cautious. Sometimes it's not just the quantity rather than the quality, because to be honest, my two colleagues have only been in the alumni department for about 2 years plus. Before this, we don't even have a proper alumni department. So having been around for 75 years, shamefully to say that we have lost a lot of alumni throughout the years. We're only starting to pick up parts and pieces. And of course, I can't say that my two ladies have done a great job. We have really cleaned up the database massively. Before that, we inherited, wow, great, you have this X number of people. But excuse me, those are with like address in Malaysia and handphone number in Malaysia, email address which is employed in Malaysia, and practically those lists is, I'm sorry to say, is useless. So we have to start all over again kind of thing. And we are having not a very big group, but a very healthy group where we are confident that these people are able to reach out either by email or either by social media. They are active. That's how we categorize it. So if I may ask again, when you have that few thousand people that came back in because of that paid post that marketing people did for the 55th anniversary, what do you do with that group of lists? Because we are also trying to explore now, because we're talking about MCO landscape, and this is the best time to do it, because both schools have acknowledged that alumni are definitely much more responsive and they are more receptive to membership recruitment. Is because I think everyone is dying to also get connected back, to have the human interface.
So, sorry, Siobhan, did you want to say something?
Oh, no, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so that was last week. And it was something that the marketing department asked if we minded them doing, because our policy is organic, right? And so we went, no, okay, if you want to, off you trot. But we don't. Our position is that until we have the portal, we don't have much to offer. I mean, yes, we offer. We've done some really terrific events this year, and they've been really successful. And it has been, getting back to how our landscape has changed, we've had to cancel 4 events because of the MCO. And some of those events are ones that were already being planned before I started. So we actually do have groups of alumni who are super active and engaged just on their own. And so part of what we're doing is engaging with already active groups and just making sure that we're evaluating the experience for them. So until we have the portal, and until we're able to offer them some some better functionality, something that's more than just putting their name on a list, which is essentially what we're able to offer at the moment, then I don't see it as a valuable thing. And I feel like that's the way the way that we've approached this year, is that we're wanting to build an experience for our alumni, so we can do that with interesting events, you know, forums, all of the sorts of things that we try to do to gauge what their interests are, where that lies, and how that differs amongst different generations. I know, Susan, you were talking the other day about potentially doing a joint alumni event, and it's very interesting. Because one of the events that should have happened on the 10th of April is a back to KL, not back to ISKL, but back to KL alumni event that was for our about classes of 1970 through to 1980. So this group are incredibly active. They're all over the world. They have, and they on their own were organizing a full week reunion in KL, where we were going to do a lovely reception and some workshops and some beautiful things for them, and a tour of the new campus, because they haven't been. They come every 5 years back to KL, every 5 years. And one of their provisos is that it's not just limited to, can you hear me? Because it says my connection is unstable. I hope it's not too unstable. But one of the provisos is that it's not limited to ISKL alumni, because they have friends from Malaysia who possibly went to Alice Smith or went to Garden, or who didn't go to any of our schools, but who are still really significant in their lives. And those people, you see them on their Facebook group, you see those people. And I know I've directly contacted one of them at least, who's super active and does very cool stuff on their page. He didn't go to ISKL, he just loves us. That's all. I wish I'd gone. I wish I'd gone there. All my friends went there, but I wasn't able to. You know, so this is I think there's, you know, there's something in that, and it's also a discussion I'm having with the IASIS alumni heads, because of course for our students, and it would be the same with you with I'm just trying to remember what the name of your regional sporting competition is.
Torpedoes, Lions?
No. The grouping of different countries. The different international schools in different countries. So we have IASIS, which is a grouping of 6 international schools.
Oh, for this year, for us,
Yeah, sorry, I used to work at the British International School in Shanghai. So we were, of course, for this year. I just had a blank there for a second. So yes, of course, our alumni, many of them also attended other IASIS schools, and those are super important connections. So that's my next call this morning is with our SAS, my SAS counterpart, that's Singapore American School, about the potential for a joint event. And an IASIS wide event. So, you know, we're just exploring the landscape. I think we all are right now, like working out, okay, are there ways of connecting people that we might not have thought about previously? Or is this an opportunity for us to get together and talk? Because it's very unusual, isn't it? It is COVID-19 that has prompted the IASIS regional conversation. And it is sort of what's prompted this conversation. So that's a really positive thing.
Lynette, I might be speaking on behalf of my team. In fact, I have a weekly meeting with my team on this. Since this room is only dominated by ISKL and Adams School, and having been the oldest school, 55th for ISKL and 75th for Adams School next year, I'm really keen on explore the possibility of having a joint alumni event with ISKL. Because one thing that I'm looking at with my team now is that before MCO happened, none of us thought of having a virtual alumni event. All of us would talk about you need to be like physically there. If not, you need to get some of your alumni who are in states, you know, whoever that you coordinator is willing to volunteer and do that thing. In fact, we felt, because we did a survey, a massive being survey among our alumni earlier this year, and we have tabulated the results. And from the findings that we have, 51% of our alumni told us back that they are not able to attend the reunions. It's not because they do not want to, it's because of distance. I have alumni in Canada and say that, please come to Toronto, but we're not going to fly ourselves into Toronto and do it. And of course, how we wish that our alumni are active as yours. We do have some group of alumni that are active, but not as enthusiastic as what Lynette that you have mentioned. So moving forward, Alice Smith, if I may speak on behalf of my colleagues too, we're really keen to work with ISKL on how we can possibly come up with 2 reunions. One of it could be a virtual reunions that we're talking about, and another one is actually a actual reunion that we get people back. Because every year during the summer break, we always have this thing called as the nostalgia walk back in school, because people tend to come back during summer, you know, so we host everyone back in the Alice Smith School. And of course, the challenge here is that we have the primary campus that is physically in the KL, and our secondary campus in the suburb that is in the Queen Park. So distance travel is about 15 to 20 minutes. And I did start off by introducing myself to you earlier part, you know, when we get to know each other, saying that in the early years itself, when Alice Smith School started, we do not have a secondary school. So most of our alumni who completed their primary, will actually proceed to either go on to ISKL for the secondary school, or they will actually go down to Singapore UWC, because these are the 2 closest schools in the region. And of course, my colleague Min have actually visited, I think, UWC, or I myself have actually gone and met the could be the former alumni relations director, because I think she has left and went back to the States for good. Yeah. So that is one possibility that we can look at on how we are managing things differently. Started off by COVID-19, but I guess that is the opportunity for us to improve our alumni relations.
Yeah, we can certainly have a conversation about how that would work. What do you think tell me what you think the benefit of that would be briefly, but I feel like we should take this one offline because it's probably not exactly what we're talking about now. But I'm interested to know what the benefits for Alice Smith is, for example, in having something combined with ISKL here. I mean, obviously, it's, I suppose, reaching people who left Alice Smith because you didn't have a secondary school, and then so more probably maybe more consider themselves to be ISKL alumni. Is that what you think? You feel like you've kind of lost that connection with them?
I think there's one possibility we're looking at, because sometimes I always throw the hard questions to myself and to my team. Why do you want to be in contact back with your alumni associations? It's because you want to walk down the memory lane, back in contact with your friends. At the same time, people would also like to know that what's in for me, what kind of support I can get back from my alumni associations. Like, for example, we actually started off a campaign called as Classic Cares. Classic is actually the brand name of our alumni associations. So we're actually trying to reach out to those people by providing the business networking opportunity. And on an annual basis since 2016, we have this thing called as the Alumni Business Luncheon, where we actually get some what you call reputable alumni in the respective field to actually speak. And we've been jointly organizing it with the British Malaysian Chamber of Commerce. So these are the kinds of networking opportunities, because you wanted to know, for graduates, I wanted to know who are my possible potential employers, who are my alumni, who are my mentor, and for people who are in business, what could I get out from the business networking? So I thought that it's not just about that small group you're talking about, Alice Smith, ISKL, and vice versa, but the opportunity to network together. So in short, I do agree, let's take this offline, because if there's an interest there, we can actually explore. Because one thing that we can actually, because I might be wrong, but I've not come across education institutions who are jointly doing alumni events. All of us are doing it by ourselves. Like, for example, the cost of us going into London to do an alumni event is actually very costly. It's unfortunate that the Garden is offline now, because Garden also do it annually at London. It be possibly a joint event that can be done, and we can actually share the cost and break up into 2 different groups after that, so that you have a platform for 2 schools together to share cost, opportunity to also network. So this is something that we have to think creatively, because I think all of us in the alumni has been doing things quite, sorry to say, traditionally. We are working in silo. let's just have our own alumni event, whether is it in US or in UK or Singapore, whatever that you got it, and vice versa back in KL. But we have not come across, again, I might be wrong, but I think I'm right, institutions that work together. And why not try it out? You never try, you never know. And let's take the first precedent, and it's because of the COVID-19, it could provide the kind of landscape and opportunity for us to explore further.
Yeah,
Sorry, Susan.
I think
Sorry, Siobhan.
I just have a question. My video is still not working, so
It's
sorry
okay.
about that. So the benefit of a co-joined alumni event would be basically to network. Is that what you mean?
Yes, it's the networking opportunity.
Okay. Okay, and are you talking about one held here in KL or overseas? In, like you mentioned, in London?
Obviously, we have to try first in KL back home. The safest is to do it back home. We have to try it back home first to see whether does the module work. Because when I was at UWC Singapore about 2 years ago, I explored that opportunity with Brenda back then. But of course, we didn't take it any step further. But that is something that is possibly to be done. I think it's the networking opportunity again. It's not that restricted only to alumni who are LSKL and Alice Smith. It's that group, and also the opportunity for LSKL and Alice Smith alumni to actually be together. It could be that they are not from the same school. I mean to say that an Alice Smith alumni could not be in LSKL, but they know each other, and that's when networking opportunity happens. Min, do you have anything to add?
Certainly something that we can take offline, I think, and have a discussion about. It's a little there's more of a question mark for me than, for example, what I mentioned, doing shared events with our IASIS schools, or I suppose for you doing shared events with your Fabicia schools, because you're natural, you naturally are feeder schools for each other. Which is not, I think, the way either ISKL or Alice Smith would consider each other as feeder schools. And there's that element of how it sits with your marketing and admissions department as well. So let's have a chat about that offline, Susan, definitely.
Yep.
But I just thought, while we've got everybody here, because time is really moving along and we've only got 2 minutes left, if we can talk briefly about what your plans are for graduation this year for your seniors. For your grade year 13s. Sorry, I forget the British system.
The graduation is actually not managed by the alumni department. It's being managed by the academic team over at the secondary campus. In fact, as I'm speaking now, I'm a parent of year 13th. My daughter is in year 13th. Yeah. She's looking forward to a prom. Unfortunately, I'm not too sure whether it would happen, kind of thing, and stuff like that, because the graduation ceremony was scheduled to be held on the first week of July. And of course, in 1 more minute, we're going off in 1 more minute. Yeah. So we're actually exploring now on the possibility of doing some virtual graduations, because we did see some best practices, that we got from the webinars. So we're looking into it. In fact, it's actually one of the agenda that I'm discussing with my team. What about ISKL?
Similarly, we're doing something kind of lovely that I'm now helping to organise this week, which is we have a tradition at ISKL, which is a clap out of our, and so that's what I mean, the biggest ever Zoom meeting, which I get an awful lot of people in to do a clap out. So I'll let you know how that goes. That's on Thursday, which is the students' last day of school.
Oh, next Thursday is the last day.
Before they would have sat their IB exam.
Yeah.
So really, it's a sad thing, isn't it? Our prom's been cancelled. Definitely the physical graduation's been cancelled, and virtual, some sort of virtual ideas are in discussion now. And in fact, this afternoon, is it this afternoon or tomorrow? Tomorrow, I'm in a meeting about that with our high school heads to work out what exactly we're going to be able to do there for them. I mean, there's such positive will to do something special, for them, but you know, it's going to be virtual. We're not going to be able to do anything else, but yes, I'll keep you posted. I think we're about to disappear into the main room again, so it's been lovely to have a chat with everyone. It's really nice to see you all.
Yeah, I think Iman brought us back too fast. She brought us back too fast.
Yeah. I think that's a warning sign that we will be redirected shortly.
Yeah.
And she brought us back too fast because it's only time for. Welcome back, everyone. That was a very fast 45 minutes over at the International School breakout sections. We have really enjoyed ourselves. Even though there's only 6 of us, there was a lot of active discussion, moderated by Lynette. And I'm not too sure about the 2 other breakout sections. I reckon that you'll feel the same. There's a lot of intellectual discussions and sharing sections. And how time flies, the next thing you know, really coming to an end of our roundtable discussions. So without further ado, I would actually like to pass it over to Jennifer, our EAPC chair, who will be doing the closing remarks. And of course, again, we hope that you have benefited. And in the next 1 or 2 days, there will be an email that's being sent out to you all. And we really hope that you could seize the opportunity to join EAPC as a member, because all of us actually work on this voluntarily. So we hope that, and of course, in Malaysia, we do not have this kind of associations that actually gather all the fundraisers, alumni, marketing people, and we hope to make it work. So without further ado, I'll pass it back over to Jennifer to do the closing.
Thank you, Susan. I saw there may be some people in the, no, are we all back? Great. So yeah, I mean, to echo what Susan said in our own session, I think 6 to 9 people in a group is probably perfect. There was a lot of sharing. Everyone is doing, I think, tremendous amounts of work while learning what the new normal is. So one of the things I remember telling my team when I first arrived here in Malaysia is we're building the plane while flying it, which was a common, visual that was used in change management and in other dynamic thoughts. I don't think anyone was quite prepared for how global that image now resonates for people. It truly, truly does. And I think the thing that I heard the most is there's a lot of big questions. A lot of this was at its infancy. It was just sort of starting here in Malaysia, or there had been groups that had been going for a while, and now we were trying to give it a certain level of formality, context for both the schools and the universities. The shift of paradigm and our job scopes, I think, is another thing everyone is adjusting to. But from what I see, these big questions also come from a place of also being able to share hope, which is just tremendous. The people we serve, our communities, have a great deal of knowledge and a great capacity to give, either of their time or of their financial resources. And I think every one of us has been very sensitive as to what is feasible, what is the new normal. I think, again, so we have a few more minutes before we wrap up. So if there are any takeaways, anything anybody wants to share, I think it would be beneficial to have that opportunity here. And understand there's a lot of themes that have come out of every single one of our chat sessions, which I think just feeds the idea of having future versions of this to gather everyone together, whether that be virtual or hopefully at some point in person when it is safe to do so. But really looking at this place, I certainly took a bunch of notes. I think everyone else probably did as well. And I encourage, go back to your team and talk about those things. Come with other ideas. What was sort of that nugget of today that maybe it's something that you can start to put into practice. So those were those big kind of components that it might seem small, but it could just bloom beautifully for everyone. So yeah, I really would like to invite anyone who has a thought or a takeaway that they want to share. I think that's really important because this is the platform to really speak about those things. Don't be shy.
Maybe I'll start the ball rolling. I guess in the international school chat room, there was only Alice Smith School and ISKL itself. And one thing we realized is that during these unprecedented times, it was interesting to discover that our alumni are much more responsive when it comes to recruitment. Because you know very well that when we are engaging our alumni, all of us are working or in our university kind of thing, time is of essence. So when we're doing online recruitment kind of thing, it takes quite some time for them to come back to us, and things like that. But since everyone is in partial or full lockdowns in every part of the world itself, but the alumni team, our alumni team actually experienced a surge in terms of the membership recruitment. So it's a positive sign. So despite unprecedented times, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. So there's one key thing that we discovered, because ISK also shared the same what you call experience, just like the Alice Smith School. And of course, I think another interesting note that have come out from our group is that there is possible collaborations that we can actually look into. Because I think most alumni relations departments in education institutions are working in silo. We have not come across any collaborations possibilities. For example, there are some universities that can actually jointly collaborate to do some sort of reunions, or networking opportunity rather than us working in silo. So it's something that we can actually possibly explore further on. And this is what EAPC is all about, providing the platform for all of us who are in the education institutions in Malaysia to possibly try it out, that everything starts from home first. So we want to test it out as a case, and from there we can work on. So these are my 2 cents worth of thought that actually came out from that breakout sessions, in the international school sessions. And I hope, like Jennifer said, the rest can actually share it, because sharing is caring, and this is what the platform is all about. So make best use of the remaining 5 minutes before we go off.
Thank you, Susan. Again, your 2 cents is always worth so much more, just in the richness of it. And I think, again, collaboration, that has been a word that I think people have fully started to embrace and understand, because the internal stakeholders matter. The alumni taking the lead matters, and how they see themselves. We're stewards, we're guardians of how that gets shaped, but we also need to make sure the legacy and the brand, as we hear a lot about, is well maintained. And I think at this time it gives people a sense of how important was my university or my school to how it shaped my personality and what we're going through right now. And also, as Imam shared, your school is there for you as well to help support you. That's something UTP has been trying to make sure our alumni have an opportunity to reach out, and our students have an opportunity to feel supported from many different corners. So yeah, please, who's next? Just a little share.
So maybe I can chip in a bit. I think what's consistent that we found in our group, and echoing what Susan has said as well, is that we found that the alumni are more responsive now during this time. Citing Monesh's examples, that we find that our business alumni chapter is particularly very even more active now, doing a lot of social media posts, coming up with a calendar of activities until the end of the year, sort of thing. And it's similar with the rest of the universities in our breakout room. They are experiencing the same thing. What's consistent also is that we, across all the universities, is that we have not stopped engaging with them, even though there's the MCO. So even with the work from home thing happening, engagement is still ongoing. It can be just as simple as a social media posting a message saying, hey, how are you doing? Or maybe even tips of how to manage the MCO in isolation. So it can be just as simple as that, and it can be as elaborate as a virtual networking session, which was shared by Sunway. So yeah, just keep it going and moving forward, no matter how long this MCO is going on, even, it's not going to end so soon, trust me, even if the MCO is lifted, it's not going to be back to normal. It's still going to be this way. So it's good that we keep on engaging and we continue to innovate better and new ways to engage with our alumni and each other. So I hope that we all can continue to maintain this network and hopefully grow this network and have even more breakout sessions in the future, delving into specific items to discuss.
Sure. Thank you, Rizwan. And that's so important. I think, particularly to my university colleagues, I would say, how are we thinking about our alumni potentially needing to go back to school? You know, as you know, with some of the things that we're talking about, new educational opportunities might be the path forward for people. But support, what does that look like? And the smallness of it, I think there's a lot of, I know I've certainly had the quantitative statistics sometimes are not as important as the qualitative here. Well, numbers, yes, they matter, but how do we calculate those numbers, that impact, that information, that dissemination? And I think the responsiveness now is maybe a new portion of that metric that we're looking at, because, you know, you send an email out and now you're actually getting responses to your social media posts in a much bigger way. So I think that really speaks to awareness. Sometimes we get a lot coming through, but if our alumni are making it a priority to see what we're posting, we're not just in their mind, we're speaking to something that's helping them on a deep level. So it's so important. And I agree, this is a powerful platform for all of us as advancement professionals. It's a space where you can really share and be very honest. I think sometimes collaboration's great, but we do have to make sure we don't always share too much. Sometimes to our internal colleagues, maybe that doesn't always play well, but this is a space where you can literally say, that didn't work at all. Or, this is amazing, let me share this with you, you know, and just sharing something as simple as something that worked, something you're toying with, and really being open. I think we don't always get that opportunity in a professional space, so it is impactful to have that. As Susan has said, we will be sharing this video for playback. We also hope, if you're not a part of the EAPC, you do decide to become a member. All of us, you know, again, we are volunteers, so we have given of our time to be on these chat calls to figure out the process, but it's been a lot of fun in the sense that it hones other skills that you're going to be having to use while working with your alumni. So it's just another professional development extension. Also, I know how leadership plays on KPIs, so it's never a bad thing to have that as well. And also, if you have colleagues that are maybe, a lot of this we know has been KL focused, but if you have colleagues in other places in Penang and Sarawak that we've not, in Sabah that we've not maybe spoken to, feel free to share the information when the video goes out. This is a very open format because, again, it's not super formal, it's not rigid, it's it's a startup. It's an entrepreneurial spirit, so all are welcome. And again, thank you so much. I think we are at nearly time, but I truly appreciate your time this morning. I know we're on a lot of these calls, so thank you for joining us.